Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern at Lexis & Company for the month of June. And today, I will be discussing on the topic of partial disablement and total disablement under the Employees Compensation Act 1923. Partial disablement. Section 2, subsection 1, clause G defines partial disablement as such disablement is of two kinds, namely temporary partial disablement and secondly permanent partial disablement. The test of such disablement is the reduction in the earning capacity of the employee. If the earning capacity of an employee is reduced in relation to the employment he had been at the time of the accident resulting in such a disablement, it is temporary partial disablement. If the injury is caused by an accident which results in the reduction of the earning capacity in respect of employment which the employee was undertaking at the time of accident, is permanent partial disablement. To determine whether the injury is permanent or temporary, the courts have to see whether the injury has incapacitated the employee from every employment which he was capable of undertaking at the time of accident or merely from particular employment in which he was at the time of the accident, resulting in disablement. Loss of earning capacity or the extent of it is another question of fact. Therefore, the following propositions are helpful in deciding the nature of disablement. Firstly, earning is not the same as earning capacity. There is a difference between earning of a person and his capacity to earn. Secondly, rise in earning may be the cause of various factors, and rise in wages is not decisive of no loss of earning capacity. Thirdly, loss of physical capacity is not coextensive with the loss of earning capacity. And finally, loss of physical capacity or physical incapacity may be relevant in assessing to what extent there is loss of earning capacity for every employment which the employee was capable of undertaking at the time or the employment in which he was engaged at the time of the accident, as the case falls for consideration. In General Manager Group Railway Bombay vs. Shankar, it was held that the employee was entitled to compensation not on the basis of total but partial disablement. In a case where an employee suffered an injury by accident which did not in fact reduce his capacity to work, but stamped him with a physical mark of physical deficiency or deformity as dissuaded the likely employers from employing him, he would be deemed incapacitated for work in the sense that his earning capacity would clearly be altogether destroyed. Ball vs. William Hunt is a similar case on point. It was held that incapacity for work includes inability to get work. Incapacity to work is not the same thing as incapacity to work. Incapacity to work is not the same thing as inability to work. In Rukia Bai vs. John T. Cruz, a laborer engaged in physical handling of cargo was incapacitated by spinal injury and could not do any work which required locomotion. It was held that total disablement, as defined in Section 2, subsection 1, clause I, was that once there is a loss of earning capacity, though the income remains the same, the employee is entitled to compensation, and the fact that the employee is getting the same wages after the accident as before the accident is immaterial. Now moving on to total disablement. Total disablement is defined in Section 2, subsection 1, clause I of the Act. When an employee is incapacitated of doing any work which he was capable of performing at the time of accident, resulting in such disablement is total disablement. It is further provided in the Act that permanent total disablement shall be deemed to result from every injury specified in Part 1 of Schedule 1. It was held in National Insurance Company Limited vs. Mohammed Salim Khan and another that if the employee is incapacitated to do all the work which he was capable of performing at the time of the accident is a case of total disablement. It may be that in view of injuries, the employee is capable enough to render some other sort of work, but still when there is incapacity to do work which he was capable of performing by the date of accident, it is a case of total disablement. If the capacity is such of nature that an employee cannot get employment for any work he can undertake, it would be permanent disability. In case of total disablement, there must be incapacity for all work, resulting in 100% loss of earning capacity. The Employees Compensation Act is not concerned with the physical injury as such, nor with the mere effect of such injury or the diminution of physical power caused thereby, on the earning capacity of the affected employee. The loss of earning capacity is not a matter of medical opinion, but the extent of it is a question of fact. The court must take into consideration the nature of the injury, the nature of the work which the employee was capable of undertaking, and its availability to him. The employer's willingness to employ him in any other alternative employment may also have some relevance in determination of the extent of disablement. The definition of total disablement speaks of incapacity for all work and not incapacity to work. The use of the preposition for instead of makes it amply clear that it is the incapacity to get employment which is relevant and not the physical incapacity to undertake any work. In Janardhan K vs Union India Assurance Co Limited and another, the tribunal rewarded him compensation on the basis of 100% disability, but the High Court reduced it to 65% disability. Therefore, the appellant preferred to appeal to the Supreme Court. Allowing the appeal, the Supreme Court held that the High Court was wrong in reducing his disability as the appellant has suffered 100% disability and incapacity in earning to keep as a tanker driver as his leg had been amputated up to the knee. With this, I come to the end of today's topic. Thank you.